I'm Dr. Rudy Cashman. You may have watched some of our other shows that I've done on wellness and health. And today I have a very interesting show for you, and I have a guest with me, Pastor Karen Staten.
Yes.
And she runs a very nice church which I recently visited, and she's been sort of a friend of mine because I tutored her dad.
Yes.
But we develop a mutual interest. I think something that you might find very interesting in that, after all, I'm a wellness director at Lutheran Hospital, and she had an idea, and I think she really was doing something called the Daniel Plan. You know, that's out of the Bible, the chapter of the Bible, Ezekiel.
It's in Daniel.
It's
in Daniel.
The chapter.
Daniel's, yes.
And she had been doing this every January to get people to change their health habits for 6 weeks, and some, permanently, but it was a sort of an emphasis. She already was doing it. She showed me a flyer, and her and I developed a bigger vision off of that.
Yes.
So let's kind of start this story. Maybe, Pastor, tell me a little bit about what you already were doing at your Lifestyle Center Church.
Well, I tell you, we actually each year, as you said, go on a fast. As an opportunity to just, as a first of the year, just kind of give that back to God. Say, the whole year is getting ready to get started. We don't want to make a resolution necessarily. We just want to be able to say, hey, Lord, we don't know what this year is going to hold. We want to just take some time right now and give a tithe of our month back to you, and let's detox our body. Let's deny our flesh some things and begin to listen to the voice of God to get our divine guidance and direction. That was really kind of what we were doing. And so we call it the Daniel Fast. So we were doing it for 21 days, and it's not really that uncommon because many churches do embark on this kind of first fruits fast in the first of the year. I talked to others in the city and even some across the country that were doing this so-called Daniel Fast. And it's an interesting fast because it's a fast that you don't eat anything except vegetables and fruits and only water to drink. You see, I got my water here, only water to drink. So it's pretty tough, and this is for 21 days. And then actually now, because we're in such a technological age, we cut back also now on television as well, and some put our tablets and some of the internet away to just a portion of the day instead of all day looking at it. Maybe right now I just cut down to 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day and 1 hour at night. Well, when I saw you that night, we were actually doing the class, and I was stopping in to get some tea because herbal tea is something you can have on a diet as herbal tea. And then I saw you in one of the coffee shops downtown, what happened to be my favorite, and Starbucks, and I says, there's Dr. Cashman. I says, my goodness, I says, it's always a joy to see you because of your good advice and your care. My dad we were able to enjoy like 5 more wonderful years of my father being here. He passed away just last March, but we had a wonderful time with him because of your good advice. And one of the things he was a vegetarian.
Yeah, I convinced him to be that, and he lived, I think, longer because of it. Pastor, I think these are great words, and I think, personally, I really believe that God dropped you in on me that day, and which leads, I think, to a bigger opportunity.
It does.
I'm a wellness director. Yeah. I've written numerous books, 15 books, many of which about proper eating, which interests me because I'm seeing so much diabetes, so much hypertension, and so much cancer. All related really to what we're eating. It's our genetic structure which we have is revolting to the genes of the food we're eating, and we're getting sick. But the good news is it's stoppable, preventable, reversible. And there's this great story in the Bible where Daniel and 3 of his friends, I think they were Israelites, were asked, told by the king they had to eat the way he did, and he was way overweight and out of shape. And they ate the vegetarian way, stayed very healthy. So that's the reason the Daniel Plan interests us. But what the Reverend and I are planning to do at this point, to carry this throughout the churches and to teach people about lifestyle.
Yes.
It's not just about eating, to have a happier life, a longer life, so that when they appear in front of God, who gave them a healthy body to begin with, there's going to be some accountability there, and we're going to help them to become well.
Yes.
And then Rick Warren wrote this book called The Daniel Plan, but we had the idea of the Daniel before that. For years you've been doing this.
Yes.
But wrote this wonderful book, which is just along the lines of what I teach.
It is, yes.
The cover is Mark Hyman, Daniel Amen. These are all books that I read. I've been lecturing off, and I've met some of them. Excellent way of doing it, but it involves the whole being, and personally, it's tough to break our habits. Sugar is addictive, which is the cause of most of this. It's addictive. It affects our dopamine circuitry. So to ask for the help of God, to have faith and prayer, I really think gives us a big advantage. I personally think, I'm passionate enough about this to teach it to people, to do it through the churches. And I know you have many other ministers willing to help you.
Yes.
To promote this through the churches would be a fantastic way to improve the health of many, many people.
Well, when you told me, if you don't mind me just entering right here, when you told me about the Daniel Plan, I hadn't heard of it. I really had not heard of the Daniel Plan, and you gave me this book, and I began to read it. And one of the components that I loved about this book is that it integrates. The first thing is faith, because faith is such a huge component to getting something accomplished that is as difficult as this. We cannot do this on our own. We need the strength of the Spirit of God in us, the power to be able to forge through with this kind of thing. In Philippians, it says, "I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me." And so we need that strength that He gives to be able to get it done. And of course, now it's interesting because it was just perfect timing, Dr. Cashman, because you got me right at when I think right at the beginning of this. I'm on day 10 now, and I've been able to follow this book, and of course, with the faith being so strong and the food, fitness, focus, and friends. This is my 10th day, and let me tell you something. I had some tough addictions that I had to overcome. One was, of course, coffee. I love coffee. I haven't had a drop of coffee, which is awesome. And sugar. I didn't know how addicted I was to sugar.
Yeah.
Oh,
sugar is a big one.
Woo.
That's the most addictive thing. It's as addictive as cocaine.
Wow, I believe that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. It's addictive as cocaine. And that's the reason for the fast. And as we teach it through the year, we will not be that restrictive of food. But but in the beginning, if you can get rid of that sugar addiction, say 2 weeks of no sugar, no fructose, no sugar. Fructose incidentally is half of table sugar. Table sugar is 50% glucose and 50% fructose.
Wow.
And they are metabolized differently. If I could explain that to you a little bit, because it helped the people understand why I'm so down on sugar. Is that the glucose goes to the blood, 20% goes to the brain, 20% to the liver, 80% to our cells to give us energy, okay? But fructose, the other half of table sugar, okay? And it's in most foods, especially fructose corn syrup, is metabolized in the liver, uses up ATP, makes fat in our liver, causes insulin resistance, makes the very low density LDL, which causes dementia, arteriosclerosis, autoimmune disease, and cancer. So that's the big one. And we're many of us addicted to it.
Oh.
I mean, you see one donut, you see it, and is that Cashman, what do you eat? I said, I eat seafood. All the food I see, I eat. No, just to give us a laugh. But it's really not funny. And so let's both together go through a little bit. Rick Warren in his Daniel Plan, and which is exactly what I teach to begin with. He has in there really 5 F's, 5 things. So faith, And you already mentioned how important that is, how tough it is when we're using food in America because of the stresses of our lives. We use it to feel good. Believe me, I have done it. Have a stressful day, and if there's a donut laying there, a cookie laying there, what do you think I'm going to eat? We need to clean out the kitchen, of course, and leave different foods there. So, but to have faith and to realize that God wants us to be healthy. When we eventually stand in front of Him, that we've done the best with our body, and a tremendous number of great quotes in this book, and you know a lot of them, and to use these in a church setting, and for us to prayer is a form of visualization. To use this as a prayer to visualize us 6 months down the line. Perhaps weighing a little less, looking healthy, and our type 2 diabetes is starting to go away, our blood pressure is going down, and we're exercising. So I think that's faith, is number one. Then he speaks about the food, the type of food. We're not going to recommend a diet. It's just that we're going to change and recommend to eat different food. More of a vegetable diet, not 100%. We're not talking about vegetarian. Maybe 80% more vegetables and 20% lean meat, and we'll just not totally cut out all fat of the diet. You need some fat. You need some omega-3. So we will be teaching in follow-up shows and in meetings in your church about the proper food. And next, about physical fitness. We're not asking to be triathlon runners here. We're talking about taking a walk. Half-hour walk, for example, and maybe some light weightlifting to improve our musculature, because that improves our balance. Because as we get older, and we lose about 3% of our muscles per year. I don't know if you realize that or not.
Wow.
So you can imagine over 20 years, what can happen. Wow. So to build up our muscle mass a little bit, and we'll be discussing fitness. We'll make a total show out of that. And then the next one is focus. That we're going to need to focus on what we're doing and realize maybe our thought process wasn't the best. We're going to need to change, I think, the way we think.
The way
we think. And then lastly, which you'll be doing at your church, and we expect to have it at other churches, to get a friend, 1 or 2 or 3 that meet maybe once a week.
Yes, and form like a community.
A community.
Yes.
And a church is.
You need that.
Isn't that a great? Wouldn't that be a great?
That'd be awesome.
Place.
That'd be awesome.
And tell me, and so friends is the last one, to have some groups. Rick Warren actually in this church out in Sacramento. He has a huge number of groups, and it's working. They're losing weight, and the way it happened to him is actually he was having a baptism, and it's a huge church, and
like 25. They had like 25,000.
About 20,000 people, and he was baptizing 500 of them, and they had, I think, some of their clothes removed. I don't know what the situation was, but he looked at them, he looked at himself, and he decided they were all overweight and obese. So he just went on this, and it's been working.
It has been working.
A lot of them form these little committees, and it's a wonderful fellowship, and they're doing it through faith. He wrote that book, Purposeful Life, a book I love. To have a purpose in life. I feel I have a purpose in life, which it makes my life exciting every day.
Every day.
Every day I go to Starbucks and I meet you.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh,
it's an exciting day, Reverend. That was totally divine.
Divine appointment.
And our body belongs to God.
It does.
I believe that, and it is up to us to honor it and
to be good stewards.
And to be good stewards of
what God has given us.
Exactly.
He gave us these bodies, and He paid a tremendous price for them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He paid a tremendous price for these bodies. And Romans 12:1, has said, I urge you, brother and sister, in view of God's mercy, that you offer your bodies as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, for this is your true and proper worship. So when you take care of your body, you're actually giving God a sense of worship and saying, hey, we worship you. I worship you with all of my being, with my body, with my mind, and with my spirit, and that we shouldn't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So as we renew our mind and get a new way of thinking about food, then we can become wonderful, vibrant, healthy individuals, presenting ourselves as the very best that we can be, just as he gave us his best.
Yeah, Reverend, wonderful words, wonderful words. We're trying to get people just to change their way of life, to be happier, improve their employment, and let's face it, down the line, if you're looking for a job, they may not be able to ask you your total health history, but they're going to look at you. Mm-hmm. That tells a lot. Yeah. That tells a lot. And you increase your possibility of getting a job. So I think that's important, and how your family looks at you, mm-hmm. and also how a potential mate looks at you, mm-hmm. and how we honor your marriage. Mm-hmm. You know, if one stays in real good shape and the other one doesn't, and you know, you want to be doing these things together if you can. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know how to eat properly, don't know how to exercise properly, and I don't blame them. Mm-hmm. That should be taught in the schools, churches, and the schools claim they don't have time. And as health providers, can't just hand you a script. We're going to have to spend a little time and teach you to get well. This is what I'm trying to do. If you follow this plan, what my plan is, Reverend, is really that you learn the power of prayer. The power. I think be power of this.
I love this.
That you visualize yourself, the future, and that's prayer. Mm-hmm. Visualization.
Yes.
Is prayer, and kind of live in God's Spirit and refocus your life. Mm-hmm. Refocus your life to health. Refocus your life, and ask for fellowship, support of friends and church members. I personally would like to see this plan in every church in the city.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
It could be done.
That would be wonderful.
It could be done. People would be a lot healthier. They'd look better, and they'd